Hi everyone. So now I'm going to cover NI and TI, so introverted intuition and introverted thinking, making up a theme. So the types covered by this are the INFP, so NI and FE, and also the ISTJ, so TI and SE. And why have I switched around the P and J from Myers-Briggs understanding? Well, as I've said before, I think it is incorrect for to say that a J type is someone whose judging function is extroverted, whether that's in the top or the second. Because the point is, why the top or the second? Why not the fourth? Why not the third? Why is it the top and second are so special? Surely it should be only the first, the dominant function, the actual function which decides all the rest of the psyche. That should be where J and P is decided, in the same way that E versus I is decided. So, I am of the viewpoint that you got to look at the dominant function. The auxiliary or creative function should not be where you decide your P and J, and no mental gymnastics should be able to change that. They have a false idea, I think, that you have to extrovert your rationality in order for it to show up in your behaviors. I don't think that's right at all. All that does is make your rationality dynamic and fluid. It doesn't make you more structured. If anything, it's introverted rationality, especially introverted thinking, which is structure for the sake of structure. You're not going to find that in extroverted thinking. I've gone through the definitions of extroverted thinking in my course already to make sense of that. So, yeah, it's a wrong premise. I'm not going to compromise on an accurate understanding of type by fiddling with the names to suit MBTI people. We've got to understand type correctly. So the correct ISTJ and INFP are going to be NI and TI, both being pushed, because those are their dominant and tertiary or mobilizing functions. Right, so what does this create, NI and TI? So it is about, again, a virtue which they are pushing, and they are affirming this virtue now. So what is this virtue? This is the virtue of truth. Why truth? Well, truth as in not just is this thing real or fake? No. It is what is fundamentally true. And an idea of what is fundamentally true in our universe. It is very much an intellectually concerned virtue, right? What is trueness? What is truth in its fundamental nature? And NI and TI have a very affirmative view on what the truth is, as opposed to NE and TE, which don't. So what do NI and TI say? So they say that the truth is an absolute thing. There is an absolute truth in this universe. There's a real truth under all the noise, under all the misconceptions, all the confusions. There is a real, absolute truth to know and understand and pursue in the world. A truth, a destiny, a calling. This thing really is true in its nature, absolutely, and there is no question of it because of its fundamental nature. That's the idea, essentially. So when it comes to these types, they can be the most fanatical, the most ideological of all the types, because they are so committed to that truth which they have unravelled, which they have found under the surface of all things. And yes, they can be the ones to essentially pursue certain philosophies, certain ideologies, certain movements. You'll find them making sure that what has been articulated as a new movement is true to its underlying principles, that it sticks to it, that it doesn't compromise on those principles, it doesn't lose sight of the true direction and the true structure and nature that is underlying any kind of movement that is going forwards. Very much about holding things true to the axiomatic principles that make it up. And they all sort of live by this ideology, this philosophy, this religion, this faith, this code, very, very strongly, without compromising on it. Because to compromise on it is to be something other than the truth, and that is not right. We must bring the truth to either to civilization or to at least to those people who are ready to receive the truth in its nature, so that can actually align reality in a way which actually has that sort of impact, which changes things in the circumstantial to line it up with the eternal truth, whatever that is. So this is the idea. These are types, either they have the truth and they're pushing it, or they are in search of that truth to then find it and then be able to actually push that forwards. To assert that as being, yes, this is what it is. This is how things fit together fundamentally in a way which is true and meaningful and purposeful, which has signal and relevance rather than all the noise, right? This is the truth thing under all the confusion, all the frazzle and the stuff which actually ultimately is not important, is ultimately trivial and gets in the way of understanding what the true destiny of people or civilization or the universe is. So yeah, that's NI and TI in its nature. The structure, the idea, the ideal above anything else. All right.